Warm greetings, everyone. On behalf of W4W Foundation, a think tank instituted as Citizens Collective, we welcome you to another session of Wednesdays for Water. The conversation today is on Lake Pond series, and we are into the ninth session of the series. And today we are going to discuss about from local, regional to global lakes, and efforts are towards conservation and management. As you know, Wednesdays for Water is a water conversation series towards understanding better the nuances of water conservation and management. The objective is to engage with water experts, grassroots practitioners, policymakers, and even youth to learn their thoughts and ideas about the complex intertwined issues associated with water and the possible solutions they have come across and they are seeking. We have expanded to have more activities like the Friday Waters and the Monday Munching with Women for Water. Besides organizing water workshops, water walks and talks, seminars, special courses, and conference panels to continue the water conversation in various possible ways. In doing all these efforts, we have only one point agenda to make water everybody's business, as I have learned in my earlier days from Anil Agarwal sir from Center for Science and Environment. So do visit our website www.w4w.in for more details, where we have more than 120 Wednesdays for water sessions and overall water conversations accounting to nearly 250 sessions. And within these 250 sessions, we are actually running a Lake Pond series for nearly a year now to bring our focus on these special water bodies that are referred as eyes of the earth. And lakes and ponds are spatially distributed across every kilometer of the country's tropical landscape. They remain among the main sources of fresh waters for all functions. They are considered much more precious than we actually consider them in ecosystem services. There are cities, towns, villages that do not have rivers, wetlands, seafronts. However, there is no city, town, village in the country that does not have a dot in the form of lake or pond. These socially engineered, high-valued ecosystems are crucial in both waterscape as well as land use development. Ironically, since land is valued more over water, many of these beautiful eyes of the earth are under stress and face deterioration. Importantly, as landfill sites or garbage dump yards, which over the years become land parcel. Let us remind ourselves that lake lost is a land gained, and water grabbing through land development has become a common practice in the new development era. At the same time, now there is too much of discussion on lake development, which we need to discuss whether it is going in the right direction or not, or whether we are in sync with what is an ecosystem of a lake. We like to learn more of these nuances from eminent water warriors, experts, speakers about their thoughts and ideas and approach on the restoration of lakes and ponds going on in the countries, not only in India, but today we are also going to look at across the world. Today we have Ajit Pattnaik sir. I have been actually looking up to him for many, many years since I started my career. So let me take this opportunity first to thank him to give us time. I actually caught him during the World Lake Conference, which we had in Hungary. And I thought I should just take a commitment from him to come on our platform before we close the Lake Pond series. So thank you, Ajit sir, for honoring us and giving us so much of motivation to come to this platform. So before I invite you to give your solo speech, let me just give a brief introduction. You actually don't need any introduction, especially the kind of participants we have today, both on YouTube and here. I think it's still as Wednesdays for Water Protocol, I must do a basic introduction of yours, and rest we can always look up to your work profile, which is spanning more than 35 years. You are at present Vice President of the Wetlands International South Asia and former Principal Chief Conservator of Forest, Government of Odisha, and Chief Executive Chilika Development Authority. With over 35 years of varied professional experience of Indian Forest Service, particularly in the field of management of wetlands, lake basin, and coastal zones, community forestry, natural resources management, and community livelihoods, you have represented the state and national government on various international forums, such as meetings of the contracting parties of Ramsar Convention, Convention on the Biological Diversity, World Lake Conference, where I actually came to know about your work, Asian Wetland Symposium, World Conservation Congress, just to name a few. And you have led the formulation of first of its kind World Bank assisted integrated coastal zone management project for Odisha, which has now become kind of, a Bible for us to look at the coastal zone management system. So just with this brief introduction, I welcome you again, sir, and over to you for your solo presentation. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah. Good evening. Thank you, Mansi, for your kind words. I'll just make a small correction here that I completed my tenure as Vice President, Wetlands International
Okay.
South Asia, and okay, but right. So I would like to, kind of put on record my sincere, kind of appreciation as well as gratitude to the organizer, particularly Mansi and her team, as well as the sponsor who are supporting this great initiative. Also, all my friends who have were kind enough to join to encourage the organizer. So thank you very much for joining. And I would straight away go into the subject and with your permission, can I share my screen, please?
I think you should be able to. Please check, sir.
Okay, I think I would be able to do that. Okay,
Yeah.
all right. So, hmm, yeah, I think I have to make it slide. So, yeah, all right. Are you able to see my
Yes,
screen?
sir. Yes,
Oh,
it's visible
thank
to
you
me,
so
sir.
much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Right. So, I have been asked, I again express my sincere gratitude to W for W Foundation, as well as all the sponsor for this great initiative and giving me this opportunity to share some of my thoughts with you. So I would, with your permission, I'll just reverse the thing. Instead of going from local to regional and global, I'll start with global, then come down to local because I've lots to say about the local. So yeah, uh, and okay, yes. Why wetlands are important? Because they contain over 90% of the world's liquid surface fresh water, mostly which is most readily accessible. Of course, Mansi has already mentioned, and it has got high resource value. And the natural and artificial wetlands, they provide many uses for the sustainable human livelihood as well as economic development, while serving as a essential habitat for a great variety of flora and fauna. So, basically, though 90% of the fresh water in liquid form is, kind of available with the wetland, but somehow, what Mansi mentioned, these eyes are somehow, kind of uh, which should have been nourished we were due to our kind of maybe ignorance or maybe due to our kind of lack of vision, they're becoming blind. So that's the real concern, why that's one of the reason why such webinar is being organized to kind of make people aware and conscious about this very important ecosystem. So they are also a major hydrologic stability function in the period of water scarcity as well as access floods. I think many of our cities are because of the short-sightedness and not including the wetland in the urban landscape. Lot colossal loss is being incurred. Recent example is Chennai, of course. This is the second time. Then So they also, kind of accommodate a greater range of beneficial ecosystem services, which all of us know. So just to, kind of for your better appreciation, out of if we go 100% the water on the earth, and then 97% in the say sea, or only 3% is the fresh water, and out of that, if we see the surface water, river, kind of the river which are more visible because of they flow and they're mighty. It's 0.006%, whereas in wetlands in lentic form, it contains 0.26%. You can see, I mean, all river water put together, they are far less than the fresh water which is in liquid form in the wetlands. So, why wetlands are important? Because they're essential for human well-being and prosperity, containing 90% of the fresh water in liquid form, as we discussed. And they also provide us with fresh water to ensure a food supply, sustain biodiversity, protect against drought, flood, and extreme climatic event, and also help in climate change adaptation and mitigation. And they are a major source of employment globally. So now let's go to the history. Like the importance of water is obvious to anyone. I think existence of life in form of flora and fauna is not possible without water, and the wheel of life and progress is turned by water, right? So then coming to its, if we see the history, I think it's embedded in it is well embedded in the history, current, and future of humankind. And now, if we see the evolution, human evolution is directly linked to the wetlands. And an amazing book, I think, how many of have gone through it? This Lake People by Richard Leakey. It became a bestseller. It actually based on few human skeletons. That's paleontological studies of fossil in Aludabi Gorge in Tanzania. And from a few pieces of skeleton, it was possible to reconstruct the habitats, lifestyle, survival strategies, and cultural practice of that time, which had got significant, kind of role of water in wetland. And our ancestors, they also spent several centuries perfecting the technique for survival. Even in the wetlands of today, everything operates in an intricate way, and it is a journey of many lifetimes, better known as cultural heritage. I think it's very much, kind of well embedded in our culture. So wetlands have enormous spiritual and cultural significance to the traditional owners of the area. And now let's start the global, kind of just to visualize. I mean, how we mentioned that 90% of the fresh water is in liquid form and it's in wetland. So just imagine, see the 5 Great Lakes, which are spread over US and Canada. They hold 23,000 square kilometer of fresh water, about 18% of the world's supply. So just imagine, and are important both physical and cultural and heritage. They're the physical and cultural heritage, and but unfortunately, they are severely impacted by the human activities due to pollution and kind of eutrophication. Though we'll come to it later. Now coming to Asia, the largest freshwater lake of the world, this Lake Baikal. So it covers 31,722 square kilometer, or 22% of the world's freshwater is, kind of found here. And that one of the deepest and cleanest lake. The highest depth is 1,642 meters. And it's a wonderful, I mean, ecosystem with perhaps the amazing biodiversity, which is beyond imagination. And yeah. And now coming to, kind of let's see some of our lakes. So the yeah, so right, sorry. So if we see these, kind of these are village ponds which are spun over the entire country, and our village are, kind of their signature of the village at one point of time, and they are the socio-cultural epicenters. And it's put to multiple use. In one village, there are multiple pond, which are put to different land, practices, put to different use and practices. And, kind of they are the managed by the community. Still, many of the village ponds are managed by the community. They are desilted. They are, kind of weeding is done by the people, and community fishing is done. Here, see, which is a cultural signature. I think my friend from Assam, Dr. Purkakia, is here. That is the community fishing in by the Rava community in Assam. You can see here, the people who come. So how the significance you can find. Still that cohesion, then the integration, everything comes from here. So they are much more than water. To the human being. So that is our ethos. I think if you see in not only in India but in Asia, they have got great to do much more than kind of livelihood, but very important cultural as well as kind of ethical values. So now let's see what is really happening. If we see, in spite of these importance and in spite of the wetlands, kind of which impact our life so deeply, the wetlands are lost at a faster rate than any other ecosystem. And in comparison to even the rainforest, which are normally kind of voice is raised about its destruction, but the wetlands are much more faster. The degradation rate, 64 to 71% of the wetlands have been lost since 1900. This Davidson 2014 assessment was from Ramsar. Then globally, the cost of the loss of wetland ecosystem services from 97 to 2011 is estimated to be US dollar 4.3 to 20.2 trillion per year, Kostanja. So here you can see that unfortunately, in comparison to the inland and marine coastal wetland, the inland wetlands are, kind of the slope is very sharp and, kind of. Similarly, the freshwater living planet index, which is done by the WWF, here also you can see the sharp decline, which is very unfortunate and, kind of matter of concern. So what are the real, kind of cause why the wetlands were losing wetlands? One is the encroachment, because they are the soft target. In many states, they are not demarcated properly. And of course, the sedimentation because of the change in the land use pattern and abstraction and reclamation. As I mentioned, they are the soft targets, so they are reclaimed. They are many times without understanding their values, and that's why many urban, kind of landscape where they have been blinded, or kind of they've been extincted. The drainage problem and the urban flood is becoming more and more prevalent, which has never heard of. Then pollution, of course, both due to anthropogenic activities as well as kind of other factors. Then hunting and poaching in the wetlands, particularly the bird and other species, and the invasive and alien species like the water hyacinth. It has become a kind of great menace for most of our wetlands. So this is not only common to India, but it is across the Asia as well as kind of global. I think these are one or more are the you will find the signature in including the Great Lakes. So I found that for this, see, in Indian context, if we see, in many states, they thought that perhaps the wetland conservation is the government of India's mandate, and they are supposed to conserve and protect our wetland, and they are supposed to fund. And so for last 4 decades, we found that hardly, kind of more than, less than 200 or 250 wetlands were supported for conservation. I don't know to what degree they have been done. So that's why I think a public awareness is required, because deliberately I put certain slides that it is already in our culture and ethos. So we have been, kind of nobody should explain to a villager the importance of village pond or importance of fresh water. They understand much better than us. Only thing is that this typical management, what Mansee mentioned, the way we're managing, are we right? By putting money to some signature or some of the conspicuous Ramsar sites. So what does it say? Are we, kind of, but that realization has come now. The government of India has also, kind of devoluted power and given to the state, and kind of sensitize the state to start thinking about the conservation of the wetland. And some impact we can see. At least the urban wetlands are being, kind of reclaimed in a massive scale. So I found that the participation of the community or the stakeholder is crucial for sustainability, and it should not happen in a project mode. Because once the project is over, then kind of people think that let's wait till kind of the wetland degrades so that another project would come and will work. That doesn't work. So the people know that it supports the life and livelihood of the community. So kind of somehow the sustainability, kind of has to be, I mean, from the very beginning. I mean, whenever we go for any restoration of a wetland or any such program, we have to see how to make it sustainable. That is very important. That can only happen when the community are involved, starting from the management planning and in the implementation, as well as kind of its monitoring. So right. So why it is not happening? Why it is not happening? Because many times I think it is not designed properly. Many times, kind of the community participation or citizen participation is not properly, kind of given importance or weightage. Just in a project mode, the components are being, so that creates real, the gap, so that the ownership is not built from the very beginning. So I'll just, kind of share with you very quickly a successful restoration and conservation of one wetland in Odisha, that is Chilika Lake, which is one of the first Ramsar site of India, which was in a pretty degraded condition, and it was done based on ecosystem approach and active community participation. So those of you who are not aware about the Chilika Lake, it is located along the east coast of India, and it's about 1,000 square kilometer, and it's a very shallow lake. The average depth is less than 1 meter, and but it's highly productive. And about 0.2 million local community or fisher folk, they depend on the lake for their livelihood. Again, it is a hotspot of biodiversity. We found the highest number of Irrawaddy dolphin here, and now uh, I think in next week there would be a census of the bird. Last year it was 1 million, and so this year also they say that the arrival is pretty good, and it may of the same kind of number. Then it has got certain species which are endemic to the lake. Like this is a limbless skink, which is found in one of the island and not found anywhere in the world. So it has got high conservation value. I mean, that's why, or priority. It has got 336 fish species and 211 species of bird, and is the largest congregation of migratory bird. So now, what were the challenges, pre-restoration scenario as well as the management challenges? Just to share with you, it is a very complex ecosystem. It's an assemblage of marine, freshwater, and brackish water ecosystem, which coexist. I think rather I would say. Then is the open use of common property resources like the fishes. They're just allotted notionally some of the areas where the fish. So there is every possibility of resource depletion because it's a open use. Then shrinkage of water spread area due to the siltation, which is, I mean, good. I mean, they say for most of the wetland of the world. Then shrinkage of water spread area was happening due to that, and fall in the salinity level. of the lake water because of the kind of the lake mouth or inlet was choked because it's in fact connected to the sea, and it's a brackish water ecosystem predominantly, and some unauthorized shrimp culture was happening along the periphery of the lake, which was detrimental for the lake ecosystem, and this resulted in loss of biodiversity and productivity. You can see here in 1985, the total fish landing was 8,000 metric ton, which plummeted to almost 2,000 metric ton by 1999, and there's also a shrinkage of the area. This adversely impacted the livelihood of the local communities. About 0.2 million people depend on it, as I have already mentioned. And due to change in the ecological character, it was included in the Montreal Accord in 1993 by the Ramsar Convention. This something like threatened list. So in 1993, it was included in the threatened list. So Chilika Development Authority, agency was created by government of Odisha, and CDA adopted a kind of ecosystem approach. First was to trace the root cause of the degradation. So some of the targeted scientific studies were kind of conducted, and the adaptive restoration plan, because it is very dynamic. So instead of going for kind of a very long-term management plan, the restoration plan was adaptive in the sense do something, then see how the system is responding, then do the midterm correction if required to achieve the goal. And only because it would have kind of it would have required huge resources. So the action were prioritized, which need to be done first, and it should be completed instead of doing 10 kind of just begin then stop somewhere. So something like that. Then the integration of the lake basin in the lake management, because the siltation was a major problem. Then strategic partnership with wide array of organizations within and outside the country. That was the major strength of CDA. Then empowerment of the local communities through capacity building and wide consultation. And ecosystem-based management, there's a nature-based solution, adoption of a robust monitoring protocol. So CDA adopted the integrated lake basin management framework, which is developed by International Lake Environment Committee Foundation, Japan, ILAC Foundation, to be precise. And it was 6 pillars. One is the institution, then participation, policy, technology, information, and finance. I think for lake integrated lake management, you need these 6 essential kind of pillars to be in place. So institutional responsibility, then the policy direction and stakeholder participation, scientific and traditional knowledge to be used, then technological possibilities, as well as funding prospect and constraint. So these are something which need to be kept in mind for starting a restoration program, and we adopted this framework very aptly, and it yielded good result. One is we started with a very good enabling institution. The Chelika Development Authority chaired by Chief Minister. So it worked. I think we found that though it is not it's only a registered society like a NGO. It's not a authority. The authority is a misnomer, I always say. But because Chief Minister is the chairperson, kind of whatever decision is taken in the governing body, that is implemented, because that become binding for others. So here you can see the key department secretaries are there, then some experts, even the Fishermen Cooperative Society representation is there, and public representative like MPs, MLAs, they are also a part of it. So based on the critical, kind of rigorous modeling, the outcome was that the lake degradation is taking place because of the non-communication with the sea, or the sea inlet, which was almost choked or closed, so to say. So based on the modeling outcome, it was appropriate location was determined, and it was decided to go for a new inlet to reduce the distance between the lake and the lake mouth by 21 kilometers, to reach the kind of salinity flux and tidal flux of 1950s level. So based on that, a coronary bypass surgery was made. You can see here this is the old mouth and this is the lake. So it was 32 kilometer. So on 23rd October, a new mouth was opened here, and so that the inlet is now kind of based on this, the tidal flux and the salinity flux was reached to the desired level, and the model prediction was almost 90% correct. So this was said to be very good. See the impact, what happened. There was a seven-fold increase in the annual fish, which has plummeted to 2,000 metric ton. It touched 14,000 metric ton. So every year, only from the fishery enhancement, catch enhancement, it was about 140 crore. There was an improvement in the of the salinity flux and tidal flux to the desired level, and expansion of seagrass meadows, as well as the increase in dolphin population, and the habitat of the avian fauna also improved because of these seagrass meadows. Then reappearance of the native fish species, which are thought to be extinct, they started reappearing again, and good sediment flushing. So the lake, kind of the channel depth was maintained properly, and there was a decrease in the invasive species. We lost all the water hyacinth in 1 year. That's a nature-based solution, I would say, because we did not spend a pie, because the salinity regime was built, they all vanished in one season. And there is an overall improvement of the lake ecosystem. So in 2002, it was removed from the Montreux record, and it was the first site from Asia. And still now we maintain that distinction. So it's a pride for India, I would say. And you can see here the past 17 years, from 8,000 metric ton, it has plummeted to 2,000 metric ton towards end of 2000. But it started, kind of increasing, and now it is almost, kind of maintaining the level of about 14,000 metric ton per annum, which is immensely benefiting the local community. So you must be curious how it happened. See, 95% fish, both finfish and shellfish of Chilica, they maintain a phased life cycle, part in the sea and part in the lake, right? So this is sea bass. So all these important commercial species of fish, and they're all tagged and to trace their route, migratory route. And it was found that they have to come out through the mouth and spawn here, so that the egg would hatch, and then auto recruitment would take place. But major, kind of the juvenile, they would stay back in the sea and build the stock here. So that's why a healthy estuary, or a kind of this sort of lagoon is important for even for the sea production or stock building. So like this, because now what happened, earlier it was going 32 kilometer, people used to put net here. It was only knee deep water, but now it is very deep, and it's became an express highway kind of thing. A breeding migration took place, then the auto recruitment took place significantly. That's one of the reasons why the fish production, kind of went up. So since I mentioned that there's a major intervention. So we developed a laboratory, in situ laboratory, and then we did from 30 monitoring location. We collected the sample and analyzed in the lab. So based on that, to publish the outcome of the monitoring outcome, we in collaboration with the Maryland University, USA, we developed a ecosystem health report card, right? So which is very simple. I think it's like a grade which you get. So our chief minister liked it very much. Then of course, since their color, it's also good for the local community to understand. So you can see every 2 year it is published. So A is 80 to 100%, then B is 60 to 80, like this. So the dolphin population also, which was about 25 and 85, it started increasing because the prey base as well as the habitat expansion, because they are fish eaters, because they got a good because of increase in the prey base. So they started, kind of breeding, and their number increased. And that became created a vista for alternate income for the local community, and they earn about 20 crore per annum, I think, from the ecotourism. This is, of course, I mean, not all activities together. And the about 850 boats, which used to be, kind of, so we created more than 5 gateways to disperse the density of the boat, and a dolphin watching protocol was developed to, kind of, so the threat to the dolphin population is, kind of reduced or eliminated. So it's a kind of, it also reduced the pressure on the fishery because they got a decent alternate livelihood. And 17 villages, fishers villages, where there is no electricity now, you'll find that they have got aircon restaurant and whatnot. I think we of course developed some visitor amenities, like we took advantage of that to create small, kind of interpretation centers and some visitors amenities, parking. Then they do the waste management also, the community. So then this is very important. I think the primary cooperative societies, they were being, kind of in the clutch of money lender, which was charging huge interest of about 30 to 35%. So they were federated, and, and then, I mean, a kind of, we try to transform this resource users into resource manager by building capacity of 160 fishers cooperative, then microfinancing. We provided them with some short-term loan, I mean, on about 4% per annum, and incentive for better cold chain, post-harvest care, and hygienic processing, which is very good, kind of return for them. And then of course they also, kind of try to promote the responsible fisheries. So now I think they are also, kind of upgrading some of the landing center to go for the certification process, because silica fish are found to be, because we try, kind of was slippery, and in our lab we found that there is no bioaccumulation of the healthiest fish to eat. So then, with a couple of slides, I'll come up with a very strong case study how community-based management biodiversity is successful. See, Mangalajodi Mars, it's, kind of, it's along one of the western part of Chelika Lake. It's a marsh, and it was basically known for the infamous poachers. It was a poacher's heaven, I would say. And it was till in early 90s, local community used to indiscriminately hunt and eat and sell meat as well as eggs of the bird, because about 30 species they nest there. And they made it a livelihood, a means of livelihood. And these defiant 80, kind of professional bird hunters, they had made the life of the, kind of wildlife or protected area managers a hell, to say. They were assaulted badly, and they were not daring to enter into the village. That was the situation. So with long persuasion by the Wild Oversight local NGO and Jellica Development Authority, it took us almost 3 years to, kind of convince them to abandon the poaching and adopt tourism as a means of livelihood. And you can see here about 97 species of water birds and 33 wetland dependent bird. They, and out of which 30 breed here. And this black-tailed godwit, Limosa is the flagship species, which is near threatened as per the IUCN. Then several species of resident birds are also found here who nest here. But this is the signature. You can see a cloud. I mean, these are all black-tailed godwit. And the black-tailed godwit's number, global number of population was revised based on the, kind of this population of Mangalajodi. So now these reformed bird hunters, they use very small, like Sikara, small boats without any engine. And they have been, kind of well capacitated by the BNHS. So all of them they're excellent guide. I think they can identify the bird with 99% precision. And, kind of, they say that kind of most importantly, now they live with pride and dignity, and they have left behind their bad image of bird hunter. And really, I think this is one of the best place for wildlife photography. And people from all over India, they come here because the bird, even if you go, they won't fly, even if they are 10 feet away from you, because they know that they won't be, you know. And what are the indicator of success? One is that the bird population of Mangalajodi was in as per 1998 census is only 4,000, but last year's census it was 2 million. So you can imagine, I think that indicates that there is a they've stopped poaching, as well as that has helped in some sense of security to the bird. And about 80,000, their income, average income, annual income has increased by about 80,000. So what are the lessons learned from here? Mangalajodi is an excellent example of how community-led initiative for conservation, that too reformed bird hunters. You can imagine the transformation. Conservation of biodiversity can create sustainable livelihood opportunities, making the ecosystem resilient. The community now clearly understand the connect between biodiversity and livelihood, which is the key for sustainability, and the officers realize that the increase in of bird congregation resulted in enhancement the fish stock and better catch opportunity, because the dropping they create phytoplankton, zooplankton. And the initiative, most importantly, the initiative by the reformed bird hunters is one of the finest example of most successful and glaring example of community managed protected area without any statute. It's not a sanctuary, not a community protected area. They have proved that kind of they can do better than kind of any national park or any sanctuary. So this is the community power. Right. So same thing has happened. I think in one village, about 25 acre of shrimp enclosure, the unauthorized shrimp culture which was going on in 2005, a NGO, kind of motivated them, and they have done the mangrove plantation. And now they say that they get at least 5 to 6 times more, kind of than what they used to get from the shrimp culture, and other villages are motivated by them. So the Secretary General Ramsar Convention, he came and spent 5 days, and mostly he spent his time in, interacting with the communities. So I'll just stop here with these few lessons learned. One is the takeaways. One is the sustainable management of wetland needs adaptive institution with ability to work at multiple scale and engage with diverse stakeholders, including the local communities, which I always give a lot of importance. Then investing into multiple knowledge based system to benefit from cutting edge science as well as traditional knowledge is highly essential. Participatory research, like informed stakeholder translating scientific finding into practice. Fine. Unless that is done, I think the scientific research has got no meaning unless, and that can only be done by the local communities. Helps in connecting ecosystem to the communities and facilitate resource efficient and inclusive management. Then diversity and resilience are essential for maintaining ecological integrity and sustainable livelihood. Then investment in restoration of wetland ecosystem, adopting innovation, nature-based solution can lead to enhancement of ecosystem services, ameliorate biodiversity, making the system resilient, ensuring sustainable livelihood, well-being of wetland-dependent communities. So thank you for your kind attention. I'll stop here. Yeah, over to organizers. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ajit sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the wonderful presentation and taking us through global to local to global, and then going in depth into one lake, which is also fathered by you for many, many years. Because when I started my career, I was already knowing that you are already parenting a big, big lake and wetland like Chilka. So thank you so much. And especially I would like to really congratulate the entire team of Silka Lake for over decades who have been diligently working, including local community. And you raised a very important point here. And this is something which has to be at the core of wetlands and lake, management, that is participatory research. and the role of, in fact, advanced technologies and, and to bringing in the traditional wisdom together, marrying the two. And Chilka gives a very classic example of how the marriage is possible, and you showed it through the example, and you lived it actually for years at Chilka. And now, when you are working across the world with the International Lake Environment Committee and also part of the board, as I know you for many years, it is really overwhelming to see that in India we have a wetland which is restored to its maximum strength and capacity possible. So before I open the floor, because I know there are many people here, so I also wish to thank all the participants who have been patiently listening and very much, complimenting you in the chat box as well for the wonderful presentation. I will open the floor with just one or two questions from my end as part of W for W, and then all the participants are please requested to post their chat questions and comments in the chat box, and then I'm going to invite you for asking questions directly to sir. So just a brief summary of what we learned, and you already summarized it in the key takeaways. I have an important question to ask you in the current scenario where we have so many Ramsar sites and we are going with a kind of a lake development approach. And when we look at an initiative like Chilka, we see a more participatory conservation approach vis-a-vis the development approach. So it will be very nice if you can just enlighten us between the, I mean, some layperson distinction between the two approaches. I know Chilka Development Authority itself uses the word development, but unfortunately, I get scared when I look at across the country when I see the word development getting misinterpreted and misused in terms of lakes. So, sir, it's a question to you, and then I'm just taking all the chat box questions and inviting people. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you for the wonderful question. I think, as I mentioned, Chilika Development Authority is neither a kind of authority or kind of
Development.
entire focus is on restoration and kind,
Yes.
right? So yeah, I think I'll just in one anecdote. Once in one of the secretary in the urban development
Mm-hmm.
secretary, he asked me, we want to restore the wetlands in the city, and we have
Mm-hmm.
invested so much. I said, see, your lakes are kind of in a condition where they should be taken to the ICU because they're in terrible condition, but you are taking them to beauty parlor. It's something like that. That's the development. Lights, bench, kind of or paving with the checkered tiles. So
Yes.
I think that's why I said that we have to prioritize even in CDA whatever little money we had.
Mm-hmm.
So we know that we knew that kind of always your wish list is very long and it needs a lot of money, I
Mm-hmm.
mean resource, but a resource is always scarce. So you have to first prioritize how to use that most wisely, and that's important. I think development, kind of somehow, if you come to Chilika, you won't find any lakefront development. We discourage that all along.
Mm-hmm.
We
Yes.
allowed the shoreline to be that interface of soil with the water, so that kind of the microbes can act and aptly. That's why no eutrophication,
Mm.
because the microbes, they work 24 into 7, and there are
Yes.
billions and trillions of them. So if you do the kind of like Bhoj wetland, I think the
Mm.
only which I go, it's a great, I should have actually mentioned about it, the wisdom of that king. But
Yes.
now what has happened, kind of all the these soil lines are concrete and kind of bonded. So that actually is not the wise development.
Yes, absolutely.
And wise use of the resources. So you are absolutely
Yes.
correct. Always the restoration should be take the first seat, front seat, then follows the kind of development. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much, sir. My next question to you, and I will still continue requesting all the participants, and I see wonderful questions here. So, but I still cannot resist myself being the host and moderator of the session to ask you one question where you mentioned the role of enabling institution. And as you very beautifully mentioned, even if the name says Silka Development Authority, it is neither doing development nor it is an authority. It is a simply registered NGO, but importantly, It is mentored and led by a powerful leader. So role of leadership is also important, but no role of visionaries like you people, role of technology, role of research, and role of local community to understand and transform their lives and livelihoods have come out very, very beautifully in case of Chilka. So in this context, because you have been, constantly engaging with the International Lake Environment Committee, which is a global platform for all lake enthusiasts and experts. And I have been also fortunate to be associated with it since my master's. I would like to know your take on how and why it is important for most lake enthusiasts and experts to be part of this kind of network, not only to enlighten themselves, but also to enlighten the whole community around their work. Because many a times we don't get good ears to listen to us, when we are talking as consultants or researchers. So these committees and platforms are useful. So maybe throw some light on the ILEC and then because it also gave us the integrated lake basin management to the country. I mean, we both know Nakamura Sensei and you worked hard to bring the integrated lake basin management framework to the country, which we are still using. So maybe it's a good idea to throw some light on ILEC and what we do at ILEC.
Right. That's why I mentioned that six pillar. I think
Yes,
two of them. One is the policy. In any context, I think the policy support is very much
yes,
important. I think that's why. And second one is the participation. And what
yes,
is participation? Now, I would say that from my kind of all these years of working, it is trust.
yes.
Once community trust you, then only kind of they open up and they kind of and we have seen n number of example like these people when we did the tagging study, they
Mm-hmm.
did not charge anything to us. I think these are all
Wow.
voluntary. Can you imagine? I think in 1950s when it was done, the recovery was only 8%, but we had more than 20% recovery, and they did
Wow.
not charge anything. Simply they used to say that, kind of what the fish we hand over, based on the market price, you please pay us that much, but
Okay,
nothing,
wonderful.
so it's these two things. If you see the sixth pillar, I think finance is very important, sustainable finance. So in case of CDA, we did not, when no overseas funds were used in true sense, entire restoration was done with our money. So we that's see, when you start developing, then only you need money. But for the restoration, I think
Well said.
do it correctly. I think and scientifically, I think you don't need that much of money, and that's why I mentioned twice or thrice that should not be done in a project mode.
Yes.
Now I think the state is supporting Chilika Development Authority for is running the day-to-day business and to do all
Hmm.
O&M, and Government of India of course is supporting. So that's all. I think we never went for any ADB or any World Bank loan, or
That's a very good
yeah,
point.
yeah, and of course with our network that we did. I think we like
Hmm.
ILAC and so many overseas universities who have
Hmm.
collaborated. I mentioned.
Yeah,
So that is perhaps the right way to go with. And I like the basic integrated lake basin management. I think that framework, the six pillar structure. I think that's very nice. I think the technology
yeah,
you need participation, you need knowledge, and at the same time, you also need the finance. I think that's
absolutely.
important too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and finance means for wise use of the resources. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
thank
Thank you
you.
so much, sir. May I now open the floor to all the participants and I will go as per the chat box. And sir, you may also take a look at the chat box and I will invite Dr. NLNS Prasad to really pose his question and then we can take it from there. So
I
try to be
agree.
brief, sir. Thank you. Yes.
Uh, I was in Bhubaneswar, Minister of Environment Forest for 22 years, and I know Patnaik Saab very closely. This
Thank you,
after a
sir.
long time, about 10 years later, I heard his talk. I am now settled in Vizag. We are seeing in newspapers overnight the big lakes are covered and they are building small structures. So we need to have a, I mean, we have laws, but how the implementing agency itself is not able to do take remedial action for this. What do we do? Do we have to have a central act for this, and then surveillance should be there, and punishment should be awarded to those people who really are the culprits? So this is my question. Otherwise, people don't understand the importance of lakes. Groundwater charging is most important, and everywhere, you have concrete jungles and all, and groundwater is depleting, and we are now going for high-raised buildings. Where do we get the water from? So these are the things I think we may have to have through this platform. We may have to have a request to the central government to make an enactment to protect the urban water bodies.
Thank you, sir. Sir, it's a cry from all of us. So
Yeah,
thank you so much,
thank
sir.
you, Dr.
Go ahead.
Prasad. Thank you
Yeah,
for a wonderful question. I'll be very brief. Already
yeah.
there's a legislation that is Wetland Rule 2017, and it says that all the wetlands should be demarcated as per the Wetland Atlas within 2 years. There's a mandate for all the state and notify them so that, like Forest Conservation Act, it can't be used for any other purpose.
Yes.
Hello.
Unfortunately, this is very slow. Even I was also, kind of expert member in UP, where they meticulously kind of demarcated, kept ready more than 200 wetland to be notified. But the secretary mentioned, oh, if we notify, then the development would be stalled. So that's why what I would say, these forums should, kind of be, please, if you, really, at the core of your heart you want to, because in Bhubaneswar city, I have already motivated the HNUD department, and all the wetlands have been now demarcated digitally, and they're put in the land record, and they cannot be put for any other use. So go to NGT and, kind of fix these guys. There is a penal provision also. I think we all have to wake up and,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. I think it's a very well point made, because I want to put a point here. When NLC National Lake Conservation Plan was implemented, I'm talking from Ahmedabad at this point in time. From 630 lakes overnight, we declared 122 lakes. So even designation of the lake or notifying the lake itself got into the political ecology and economy of it, and we immediately lost after the policy came into picture. But we can talk about it more later. May I now invite Prananya Parida to close her question on water hyacinth. Prananya, are you still around?
Thank you, Mansee.
Yeah.
Sir, it was indeed a great presentation with a lot of data and information. Sir, I do agree with that. The water hyacinth is a big problem in the inland wetlands. And what should be the strategy we should take? Because a lot of organic matter and fertilizers that is coming from the surrounding area to the wetlands, and which is also kind of aggravating the growth of water hyacinth. In this situation, when a lot of other anthropogenic pressures are there, what should be the strategy to control the water hyacinth in the inland wetlands?
Yes, Pranay, thank you again for the, kind of very wonderful question. I think
Yes.
you are a scientist and see, why hyacinth is growing. I think it's because of the nutrient which is flowing into the system from different sources. It could be the agriculture, or it could be the urban, kind of. So unless, kind of you start, kind of dealing with these nutrient flow into the system, removing the hyacinth does not help in any way. You are a scientist. I've seen in many wetland, it's just, kind of eyewash. This remove those things. And if the nutrient, because the hyacinth is doing some good work by sequestering the nutrient, because that in water column, if that much nutrient is there, then it may lead to more terrible situation of algal bloom, harmful algal bloom. So here in all the urban wetland in Bhubaneswar, what we did, we asked, we could convince the municipality. So what they are doing, these wastewater which was getting into the wetland, they have been diverted through its drain and taken to the STP, I mean the line. So those kind of, see, it could happen because first 6 or 7 days I started, kind of mentoring these policy makers, like the secretaries, the additional secretary, special secretary, all the corporator and the mayor of the city. So then only they could realize. Now they are also engaging the self-help group for this restoration. I think Bhubaneswar is going to be really a lake city. What stinking lakes? So like that, right? If we can, kind of a scientist, if we can give this wisdom to the people, I mean, at least unless these waste is managed properly and if it gets into the system, then hyacinth won't go. I think, and it is also not prudent. You can't develop a war against. In many wetland, we are spending a lot of money for removal of the hyacinth.
That's true, sir.
Yeah, which is not a sustainable solution. Yeah.
So,
Thank
sir, do
you.
you think that the local governance will play a lot of role
Yes.
in managing the?
Right. I think they did not have the understanding. They were never knowing that because this water is getting into it, that is leading to these microphytes, harmful microphytes or invasives.
Yeah.
Sir,
I would.
I'm also sorry, Mansee,
Go ahead. Go
sorry.
ahead. Go ahead.
Sir, I'm also not in favor of. I'm totally removal of the water hyacinth. I'm saying it the management of the water hyacinth, how the best we can manage the water hyacinth.
Yes.
So it should have a win-win situation both for the wetland and also the total fish production from the inland wetlands, which is providing livelihood to the millions of our fisherfolks.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thanks, Prananya. I missed one question in the beginning, so I should go as first come first. So please hold on to your hand raised. I am looking at you, and I'm definitely going to reach you. And thank you for your patience. May I invite Mail Swami to praise pose question what you have written in the chat box. Mail Swami, are you still around? I'm going to go as it is appearing to be fair to all so that it's more participatory as we are talking about participatory approach. Mail Swami, are you still around? If not, please be ready. I'm going to reach you immediately after I invite the next comment, and that is J.S. Parihar, sir. You have written that you have some suggestions and requests to make. Over to you, and I request you to be precise so that we can cover everyone. Thank you so much, sir, to come here. It's really inspiring to see you here.
Well, thank you very much, and it's nice to once again listen to you, Dr. Pattnaik.
Thank you, sir.
The kind of example of Chilika which I have seen visiting with your colleagues in the beginning of 21st century, and my own colleagues from Space Application Center were involved, and the success which now I see through your presentation, I think it need to be showcased more vigorously to the national community. And when we talk about Amrit Kal and 2043, Agenda of 2043, some of it must find a place. Now, how that you are the best judge, but I see a very strong need for doing it because the awareness which earlier Dr. Rao, he talked about, the wetland being abused, abandoned, encroached, all kind of things. Now, Chilika, an example of how you have been able to empower the local communities, how you have been able to convert those poachers into a what you call in a positive this thing to make use of the opportunity. So I know you are. You have been the man of Chilka, as I know,
Yes.
and I knew. And luckily, I am still in touch with you, though I retired almost 8-9 years back, and you have been kind enough to respond. So this is things, sir, which I feel that there is a strong need. Otherwise, what is happening that the message of Chilka is not reaching beyond the boundaries of Odisha, I will say. And it is a strong injustice because everywhere else, I am in Ahmedabad, I see all around, many lakes have vanished and all will vanish in time. So kindly do something on that. So this was my comments, suggestion to you. And I wish a very happy new year to all the audience who are present. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Parihar sir. It is so much of motivation to have you here itself. It's really, really very encouraging for us. We are inching towards 250 sessions, and we are seeing more and more lake people enthusiasts here. I request all of you who are interested to come to our platform as speakers, young people as discussants. Do leave your contacts and your interest area. We are definitely going to come back to you and get you also as speakers in future. Let me just go further, and I see a lot of compliments to you, sir. So I'm skipping the compliments. Please pardon me for that, just in the interest of time. And I see Mangesh has given compliments, and then Rajan sir, who has written that he's met you in TAL conference and so on. I'll just go and look for the questions, and may I invite Somnath to pose question what you have. It's written in the chat box, but it's good we encourage people to engage physically, e-physically. Go ahead, Somnath.
Thank you, Mansee. Thank you, Mansee. It's been great to hear Dr. Pattnaik, and because I started my MPhil research in 1988 in Lake Chilka. So coming back again after such a long time and seeing all the wonderful things that have happened. So I've been off and on looking at Chilka, and I come at it as an ecologist. So as an ecologist, I've been a little intrigued by the type of management programs that has happened, because coastal wetlands, we know that natural succession leads to coastal wetlands turning from brackish to freshwater to slowly dying off and becoming grasslands. So in this case, that's a natural succession situation, and that's the reason why the Chilka Lake mouth was slowly shutting down on its own. Now, in the interest of livelihoods, and which I understand, we have actually set the clock back and tried to open up a channel. And obviously, if we are fighting nature, we would be investing money in trying to keep that channel open and keep it and setting it backwards in time, sort of ecologically speaking, which obviously has its benefits, as you rightly mentioned, the huge amount of fisheries and the huge biodiversity and the birds and all of that. And that is all wonderful. So my thought was that given this kind of a scenario, how long are we going to fight it, and how is this ecological scenario going to change? And along with that, is also the fact that, okay, the poachers have today become tourist guides, but are their children interested in remaining tourist guides, or will the fishermen's children continue to remain fishermen? Or how is the livelihoods going to change? And given the type of changes that you anticipate in the lake over the next 15, 20, 25 years during the Amrit Kal, say, so how do you see the livelihoods of people changing as well? So do some crystal gazing, if you may. And I think you are the best person to do that crystal gazing.
Yeah, we have a very interesting question, Somnath, because every lake born is supposed to die at some point in time,
Yes.
and the death is a grassland. So over to you, Ajit sir. I'm also very
Yes.
curious to listen.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, yes, a wonderful question again.
Yes.
You see, we did it in 2000, so it is almost 23 years, and you'll be really, kind of astonished to know that we have not done any maintenance. See, the mouth, because the gentleman who did this modeling was Dr. L.K. Ghosh, who is no more there. He said that we won't do any hard structure to retain the mouth at that particular place because we are not going to develop it as a harbor. So let the lake take care of its own mouth till the time we get the desired salinity flux and tidal flux. We'll allow it to migrate. It has already migrated, but it has not gone to that extent that the tidal flux and the salinity flux are not kind of upset. Second thing is that what you mentioned, you are an ecologist, you know much better than me. Like as I mentioned, the seagrass, right? It was 20 square kilometer when we opened because there is almost kind of the salinity was dropping down. Then when there is a sharp decline, then there was a sharp rise. So, but now because of that, it is increased to 150 square kilometer, and the reappearance of the species, then the species diversity. So these are some of the indicators that the system is, kind of gradually it is stabilizing, or maybe, of course, as you said, we're also very much upset. I mean, to do such a all on a sudden when you open the mouth and the salinity level, whether it would go to do certain, kind of drastic shift in the ecosystem. But fortunately, that did not happen. And rather, kind of we're finding from the indicators where and the species composition, which was, because fortunately for Chilika, we have got data from 1900 because Geological Survey of
Right.
India, they did the survey.
Yes, Annandale's.
Annandale and Camp. So when we can compare, many times, kind of we really, I mean, we get thrilled, so to say. But at the same time, we also feel ashamed that, okay, some of their observations are still valid after more than 100 years. So how meticulously they might have, kind of done the whatever study or observation. So that we as I said, I forgot to mention also, now we have got some real-time measurement of the parameters. So it is well monitored, and our monitoring lab is also, kind of is well equipped. We have also, kind of gradually where no bioaccumulation, which is again a very, kind of heartening thing. So we are going for the certification. So the livelihood, also we are multi-pronged. I think it's not only, so we're trying to, kind of see to it that they're out of the clutch of the money lender, and their earnings should increase through, kind of these diversification like ecotourism. But as you said, whether their son would be interested in this, but one thing is important. We found that earlier, kind of they are not able to send their children. So from the village, you will find that some of their children are really, kind of they've done because they did not have money to send them for the. Rather, we would see, I mean, would like to see that, kind of their children, they're prospering. So something like that. Of course, that kind of studies, segregated studies, not done so far, but they are happy people, I can say. And for last 2 decades at least, kind of we're finding that the trust between the Chilika Development Authority and the community is gradually, there's an increasing day by day, and yeah, I would say that these are some of the parameters to measure the success. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir, and thanks
Thank you so much. This is wonderful. This is wonderful.
Thank
you.
you.
May I just now invite Ilangovan Rajan sir, and you have requested for PPT in PDF form. We are also requesting sir to share this with us.
I will do. Yeah.
So,
sir.
please, go ahead.
Yeah. Good evening to all. Dr. Ajit sir, I know you very well. I think you have attended, you have participated in the meeting, 2000 Lakes meeting in Ooty. I think so. Otherwise, I might have seen you at Jaipur Tall Lake conference.
Yes, at Jaipur we met. Yeah, you are absolutely.
So I was also working in NLCP lake project, so that we got fund from NLCP for Ooty Lake and Kodaikanal Lake. Ooty Lake was regenerated by 2004 to 2005. At that period, we spent around 1.75 crore. Almost we have also taken that coccolith based nutrient biological powder to spray in the water, so that the pollution will be reduced that way. My major question is, we are all talking more about the conservation as well as the development. The Conservation Act has also come over almost parallel to the developed nation. That also available in India. That way we can appreciate the government of India and other state governments. The problem is, basically I'm an engineer. Later I am, because of the scientist, biologist and geologist, I am just a little bit marching towards conservation activities in lakes, other aspects. I found there is a wide gap between the engineers and the scientists. The engineers are doing domination role in the development works. The scientists, at least, they are doing lot of research in almost all the lakes. But these papers are publishing, and they are not able to combine together and to convince the government the ill effects of the overdevelopment. So how to manage this situation, sir? This is my question.
Right. I think if you had seen in my presentation, that's what one of the takeaways I said, that the scientific findings need to be translated into practice. And the best way to do it is to, kind of involve the community so that it becomes sustainable. And I did not have time because Mansi gave me only, kind of 25 minutes. So of course I have a little bit of time. So I could not put the real, kind of participatory research. So here, I had also, kind of some kind of difficult situation with the scientists. They told me, they were so much upset. Even the CIPRI director, who was a very good friend of mine, when I suggested one of the participated research, he said that you are talking like a NGO. This is not my job to go to your community, illiterate fellows, what they would understand about C14. I always used to say that I don't have any, hesitation if you publish the papers in peer-reviewed journal, but unless your hard work is translated into practice, I think you won't get the mental satisfaction that was there. And then it was proved also. I mean, CIPRI director, he was so appreciative. He documented that. So that's what I'm telling. I think you have to somehow involve the local community and in the research, so research finding. And I'll just kind of the cost of timing. When I sent the scientists once when they came for the Reiki, deliberately with the officers in their boat, they came back in the evening. They were supposed to come back by lunchtime. They said that these 6 hours which we spent, we got the information which would have taken 6 months for us to get. I said that is the sole purpose, because the knowledge
Yeah,
which people are having is not found. You can't find them in peer-reviewed journal. So that's why I want that. That's what Mansee mentioned, the hybridization of the local knowledge as well as the hardcore scientific information. But only thing is that only way to kind of put them into practice is to kind of involve the stakeholders so that it becomes sustainable also. Thank you.
One more, sir. One minute, madam.
Well,
Only one.
Okay,
Only
okay,
one.
please go
The
ahead. Please
important.
go ahead. But I have
Yeah.
to still get 6
Yeah.
more people.
Yeah,
Please
yeah,
go
yeah.
ahead.
Because
Go ahead.
there is one new invention to control the water hyacinth. That is a Nualgi liquid. So I used to the liquid in the Ooty Lake later in 2012-13, and it will increase the diatom population. The diatom will fix the oxygen level to the entire water column. Whether it may be 6 meter or 10 meter water column, the entire water column it has increased. So we got a very good result before starting, and after 3 months, after 6 months, I am just recommending the one liquid that Noalgi is one of the best product in India. Scientists found by Indian scientists and manufacturer that may be very useful to control the pollution level and the nutrient level, sir. This is my findings. I tested in my Ooty Lake, 50
Thank you so much, sir.
hectare. Yes.
Thank you so much,
Thank
sir.
you.
I want to bring here an information. In fact, I presented at ILAC conference at Balatonpur in Hungary. Nearly 15 kind of lake restoration methods which have been used in the country, and that's a scientific compilation which I did and presented. And when sir also saw my presentation, so Nualgi was one of the methods of lake restoration. So I will reach out to you to make the presentation. For now, may I invite Ravi Shankar sir to please pose his question. His hand is raised for quite some time. I'm going to take every one of you, so please be patient. Thank you so much. And please try to be precise and for both. Yes, sir, please unmute yourself. No, we are not hearing you. You are on mute. Now go ahead.
Okay, thank you. And I'm glad to hear too the same enthusiastic presentation of Ajit Pattnaik ji. And often he remembers me that I was there in Spain, Valencia, when our Chilca Lake was removed from Montreaux, and then that's a wonderful time I spent with him. I want to make 3 observations. One is about the data. As the earlier speaker also, I mean the observant also said, there are lots of information, that is research papers published, dissertations for MPhil degree and PhD degrees are available all over India in different universities. And they're all, volumes of data, and which it is also a bit difficult to refer and go through all the data when we want to do some consultancy work or prepare some good reports. And universities, at least now, should be teaching our research scholars, particularly JRF, SRF and all, on how to briefly present themselves. Because writing down volumes and volumes will take a lot of time for us to go through and perceive what is there. And also, like IP-based, we should have some policy guidelines and policy framework And all these students should be taught on how to write policy briefs also. So that is what is required. And the double helix model, that paper is only half A4 size, I think. And this is where we need, like, as Ajit ji said, 6 pillars, like institutionalization of the data available between scientists and engineers. We cannot, work in isolation or in silos. That is one thing I wanted to say. The second thing is the replication. We have wonderful work done in Chilika, and we are yet to replicate the same in Pulicat Lake. I have been, listening to the government for more than 3 years, and I have also said that, we should take the Chilika model. Both Andhra Pradesh government and Tamil Nadu government, both are silent. And we know pretty well what would be the economic and livelihood and social benefits that will accrue once the model is replicated and the mouth is wide open. That is one thing. Though we have some models of Jeff project and GCF projects in Gulf of Mannar, that is also not being replicated. Down south from Orissa, the models itself within thousands of kilometers we have not done. So that needs to be replicated, and that should be done quickly. And third point is Orissa government has been very active administratively and institutionally also, because from 1999 super cyclone to 2018 cyclone Fani, actually Ajit ji and I were there. He was with World Bank and I was with FAO as PDNA expert, post disaster needs assessment expert. I was the team leader for FAO. In 1999, hundreds of lives were lost. 2018 cyclone Fani, I think only 2 lives were lost. That was the administrative capacity has been increased. That should be replicated by other states. I am living in Chennai, and I am born in 62, and I know each and every lake, and I also did the KFW project for the linking the channels and all that. I can see, if you see the name of Cherry, like Valacheri and Nungambakam and all, these are all lakes and water bodies. All the IT companies are constructed only in lakes, and tens and hundreds of acres. Now they have constructed houses in lakes and buying water in lorries and drinking. What an iron! And as Ajit ji said, the water bodies data is not there. So anybody can occupy anything. And there is a very bad nexus among the realtors and the politicians. I don't, mince words, because it is everybody, it is an open secret. Still we are learning. Today, there is a news item in the Hindu saying that hereafter in Tambaram, there will not be, what is that, ground floor. Only first floor, afterwards only, like stilt houses that we
sir,
see.
Ravi Shankar sir, as a moderator, I have to really intervene, because you have to ask question or suggest, or you have to be really brief, because we have serious problem in editing later on. So I mean,
No problem.
please,
So these are the things we have
please
to, kind of address.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. May I invite, thank you so much, Ajit sir. I think he had suggestions and you heard him. So
Yeah.
I will take Shobhit, and I see Mangesh already left. So I'm sorry for that, because I'm trying to do as best I can as a moderator. We will have Shobhit and Ketan. And Ketan, do you have question, or you just want
Namaste, ma'am.
and Sanjeev? Yeah, no, we will go Shobhit. Go ahead, Shobhit, and then Sanjeev.
Namaste, ma'am.
Hello.
Yeah.
Shobhit this side from Dehradun.
Yeah, go ahead.
Ma'am, my question is there any inventory or database of all lakes and ponds of India, where we can get all related information, and can we geotag all the lakes and ponds, so that all the related information or all the changes can be find out real time? Thank you.
We do have, but Ajit sir, please go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's a nice question, right?
Yes.
As I mentioned, we have got a National Wetland Atlas, which is
Yes.
developed by the Space Application Center, where you get the kind of lakes which are is entire these are all in form of shape file they are available, but unfortunately there is the details is available only for few wetlands like Ramsar sites and others, but for other wetlands I think the state have been mandated to do the digital survey and create a brief document for each wetland and notify them. That progress is very slow. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ajit sir. Thanks, Shobit. Suresh, are you still around? Would you like to ask your question? Can you explain the role of urban? Suresh, are you still around? Would you like to unmute yourself and ask your question? Because of the time, I think people are leaving, but they have posted their question in the chat box. Let me first take Sanjeev, Ketan, and then I will read a question for Suresh, and then we'll try to finish as soon as possible. Sanjeev, would you like to go? Please unmute yourself.
Thanks, Mansee, for the wonderful session, and Dr. Ajit Pattnaik. It was excellent insights and your work in Chilka. So I'm actually fortunate working with you in the Mangalajodi initiative. Particularly, my question to you, based on the success in Chilika, which has been demonstrated with a lot of partnerships and creativity in place. So the same situation happens in many lakes in the country as well as in the state. So what is your insights? This kind of learning we generated in Chilika Lagoon can be transformed and the roadmap for other agencies and the government to take it as a learning ground, and that model can be replicated in a way so that there are many restoration insights can be generated. So what is your insights for the roadmap?
Thank you, Sanjeev.
Thank you, Sanjeev, for the wonderful question again. Yeah, right. I think, certain thing, I think all the lakes are different. I think they cannot be equated or, all like one size fits all. But the integrated lake basin management framework, there's 6 pillars. If you adopt that, I think then you will find that that framework is wonderful. I think it's kind of, it is universal, so to say. So Mansee knows. So here we tried to, kind of in retrospect rather. I mean, we tried to analyze it, and we started, of course, building on that. So that is what is needed. You need some principle. And as you said, since in Chelika there are some example, like I cited few example. You also worked, I mean, intensely in the Mangalajodi and so like that. So these are really, kind of the very helpful for the other wetland to adopt. But the framework, I think this ILBM framework, that's of course in the guideline, in the national guideline also we have included that. That would really provide a good guidance to move ahead. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ajit, and thanks, Sanjeev. May I invite Ketan to ask questions? Please be as precise as you can. And then Kekiho Shohei has a very interesting point. Maybe I will invite him as last question for
Hello.
the participant. Go ahead, Ketan.
Hello, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Yeah.
Please go
First
ahead.
of all, actually, I'm regretting that I couldn't attend the whole session. I just joined 10-15 minutes before.
Then
So,
you should go. Okay, go
yeah,
ahead.
actually, I do really want to, like, would attend the session again if possible. But my question was like basically,
Check our website and our YouTube channel. So the session will be available there after editing. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
okay, ma'am. Thank you. So basically, my question is basically when we do leak bioremediation or anything like that, the major concern is about the weeds that are there, right? Sometimes we keep on removing it or from uproot it from the bottom as well. But every time we remove, there is a chances that the growth is happening again. So what can be exactly done in a biological manner to stop that growth? In
Yes.
excessive of like we are keeping the pollutants like in a what say we are locking up the pollutants, but still the plants keep on growing. What can be done for that, Manik?
Yes, again, a nice question. One is that, as I mentioned, you have to see the root cause, I mean, from where the nutrient is coming into the system. First, as you rightly said, you've stopped that. But as you know, a lot of nutrients are locked in the sediment. So till the time, those nutrients are released, this weed growth would be there. But unfortunately, what happens, everything, any macrophytes or the water plant which we see, we term it as a weed. That's not the case. In fact, the weed means normally we should be concerned about the invasive, which are not native to that particular wetland, right? Because some macrophytes is highly essential and they're also a part of the wetland. So that's why I said while using the word weed, you should be extremely careful, right? So you have to see which are the native species, let them be there. Their job is to sequestrate, and they also provide a kind of nursery and spawning for the numerous species which grow in the lake, either visible to eyes or not. I mean, but they play a very vital and essential role. Only we should be concerned about the invasive species, right? For that, they normally kind of compete with the native species. So before kind of embarking into any de-weeding program, we must understand which are useful and we should remain and we should not be disturbed. And at the same time, what you have done, stopping the kind of nutrient source which is getting into the lake. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think
Okay,
this is
thank
very
you.
important. Instead of doing ruthless, chopping of weeds as well as plants and bushes, I mean, we really have to have some good plant specialists to be working with the local authorities and even the local communities and NGOs when any lake restoration work goes on. I may get one last
Ma'am,
question from the
hello,
participant.
ma'am.
Ketan, I have to stop here. Thank you
Yeah,
so
yeah,
much,
no,
but
no, no. I'm
please
not asking a
understand.
question.
Yes.
Where can we get the PDF of the PPT or
we
the
will
like?
we will post all the information on our website for the video as well as the presentation. Please check our website. Not only Ajit sir, but we have had the best of the minds on lakes in our lake pond series. We have, and we are going to continue. So please chip in and give your wisdom to our lake pond series. We are going to continue doing that. Everything it will be on our website www.w4w.in as well as the YouTube channel of W4W Foundation. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. May I now invite last from the participant list is Kheki Ho Shohe, if I have pronounced your name correctly, and if wrong, please pardon me. Please go ahead and pose your question on Northeast states because we rarely get questions from Northeast. Are you still around? Okay.
He's from Nagaland, I think.
Yes, but I think he's posed a very simple question, which I think we must take because we often do not have good representation from the Northeast. So I'm just putting it in front of you. We should separate wetland policy for the hilly and Northeast states. Your take on it, Ajit sir?
All right. I think I would say that the wetlands are much more important for the hilly state because they're they have got some of the very good pristine wetland, I think, which are doing well. But unfortunately, some of the wetlands they have been kind of particularly which are at the moderate slope, they are being kind of converted or they have been so that but I would say that this is very important from the point of view of climate change adaptation because many of their streams are drying up which is disastrous because the groundwater recharge is very important for them and the spring so the spring shed as well as the wetland which are integrated part of each other so that's why they're very important and there should be a different you have to deal differently while kind of talking about the wetland of high altitude or northeastern region. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Okay, Dr. Pattnaik, can I come in?
Go ahead. Go ahead, Kyo, because I was
Actually,
waiting for you.
I was
Go
not
ahead.
supposed to. I was about to listen only, not to
Okay.
participate in
We want
discussion.
to hear you.
You've given me a chance. I was
So
wondering.
please come on our platform and speak for Northeast Lakes. Yeah.
No, this is very interesting. But then when I went through all those ministries' guidelines, they have clearly mentioned that at least wetland should be at minimum 10 hectares, right? Or 20 hectares. You can't expect that much hectare in the hilly region. Nah? Forget about Northeast, even Himachal or any hilly states. So we could not go ahead with our proposals. So I was just
Yeah. So thank you for the
the
one. Yeah, thank you
hilly
for your.
states because
Yeah.
even forget about 1 hectare, even half an hectare or 1 acre, if we have in the hilly area, it
Mhm.
matters a lot, no?
It matters.
Yeah, yeah.
So thank you for joining. I think it's a
Yes.
really pleasure after hearing to you because I have not visited Nagaland for quite some time. Yeah. But see, I mean, you are on the right path since you are going for a landscape project under World
Yeah,
Bank.
yeah,
So
yeah.
even 1.01 acre also matters because in your springside rejuvenation, I think what small wetland is there, that would be a part of it. So in the when you will develop the management plan or kind of treatment plan, so please include everything. I think I mean that's what I have given to the understanding of the TTL. So he has also kind of he's quite convinced, and you have got a wonderful planning unit. So please include all the wetland of indifferent I mean without depending on the size and kind of everything should be included in your landscape conservation plan. Thank you.
Quickly.
And Kekuha, I am reaching out to you to write to us, or let me have your contact number so that we can have a full length discussion on lakes and wetlands of the hilly regions. Why not? And that's a good time and for Ajit sir to connect us with you. So thank you so much, Ajit sir. From all the participants, we come to closure, and I must apologize for Mangesh. I could not take him because he raised hand, but there was no question in the chat box. One last question from Suresh Kumar's iPhone is, can you explain role of urban planning and design in lake rejuvenation vis-a-vis efforts in urbanizing India? And that will be the last question for the day. I wish we could have had long sessions with you, but for that, physical interaction is much better. And I invite most of you who are interested in water to join us for our conversations in Wednesdays for Water. Sir, last question, please.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I think this is very important. And we have seen that the urban flooding has really created colossal loss to the life and property of a number of cities, starting from Mumbai, then kind of Chennai twice, then of course Kerala. So what, as a urban planner, I think you should realize that the urban wetlands are very important and, from the landscape point of view, and they should find a place because in many cities, including Bhubaneswar, well, I was talking to the our urban development secretary. He confessed that 2 or 3 lakes which are in the original plan have been vitiated, and they've kind of done some building over there. So that's why in some part of Bhubaneswar, which was well drained earlier, it is also waterlogging problem is coming. So in urban landscape, I think the wetlands are of pivotal importance, and it should be kind of given a priority while in the urban planning. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ajit sir, and thank you for patiently responding to all the queries. And I'm sure there are more and more questions with all lake enthusiasts and experts, and that is why we do organize these events, because we strongly believe at W4W Foundation that water conversations are extremely crucial for water conservation. Thank you so much, all the participants. May you also come to our other lake and pond series and other Wednesdays for Water series. With this, let me just announce the sessions which are forthcoming. In this week, we have Friday Waters, which is another series which is also equally intriguing for people to join, because there we actually discuss alternate ways of where people are discussing water and presenting and making people aware about water, bringing change, reforms in the society. So this Friday, we on 5th of January at 5 p.m. IST, do join for discussion on. We have Water Talkies with director Rakesh P. Rao on his film The Climate Challenge. And the information is also available on our website, and the registration link is also in the chat box here. Next Wednesday, we are starting a new series just like Lake Pond series, and we are going to have a series with International Association of the Study of Commons, which is Elinor Ostrom, Nobel laureate Elinor Ostrom's research group. I must say research family. I'm part of it. We are starting an international water matter series from this January. And this first session will be on Philippines water matters, and it is on 10th of January, next Wednesday, 5 p.m. IST. Do join us for the Water Common series, which we wish to hold at least for a year to start our commitment to the water conversation. With this, I also wish to announce to all of you, all our speakers are congregating at Varanasi IIT DHU on 16th and 17th of February to have a water festival where we are going to handhold each other, acknowledge and appreciate each other's concerns, curiosity, and contribution to water sector, so that we can continue flowing with each other and at least do our bit to save and manage our these beautiful water bodies, whether it is river, ocean, sea, pond, wetlands, marshes. We have many of these water families, and we know that they play a crucial role in not only our living but living of all the creatures in this planet. So I'm extremely grateful for Ajit sir to really find us time, and this cannot be much anything better to start a new year with Ajit sir talking about lakes and motivating us to continue this water conversation series. Thank you so much, Ajit sir, for not only enlightening us and also for being so patiently answering with so much of information you have, and also again reminding the fact that community participation is at the core of it. Of course, we also need traditions, as we also need culture, economy, and all the 6 pillars you mentioned about lake basin management. Thanks all of you. We are inching towards 250 sessions with this month. So we are going to continue our talk series. Do join us at www.w4w.in. All the informations are there. All the previous session videos are also available there. Thank you, and please take care of yourself.